Hey everyone, welcome to the next in the series of editable text effects in the Affinity suite. In this one, we're going to create this crumpled paper effect in Designer using a combination of vector warp and blend options. Because it's fully editable, you can change the font, the size, the text, and the effects will all remain intact. Now I'm using version 2 of the desktop app. However, the process is the same for the iPad version, so you can easily follow along as long as you know where the tools are located. So let's get started. I've created a 3000 pixel square document and I've set mine to 300 dpi just in case I plan to print it. I can always export it at a smaller size if I want. If you know you're not going to print yours, you can set your DPI to 72 for the screen and that will work just fine. It also creates a much smaller file size. So we're going to set the background texture first, and I'm going to pull some crumpled paper texture in from the stock studio. Before I do that, I want to put a rectangle in place. That's what we're going to add the texture to. So I'll select my rectangle and command click my canvas. I'm going to key in 3000 by 3000 because I want this to cover my entire canvas, and I'll click OK. Now, those of you on the iPad version, you don't have that command click option, but you can just drag a rectangle across your canvas. So I want to change this from this off-white fill to some crumpled paper texture. So I'll go to the stock studio and I'll just type in crumpled paper. I'm going to use this paper by Arena Krasnikova in the Pexels category. So to swap this out, I'll select the layer, grab my gradient or fill tool, and I'm going to click on the image. It's automatically going to change that out. Now, the reason I'm using this, the fill tool, is because these handles allow me to scale this. It allows me to move it around. I can also easily swap my texture out within this rectangle. Now, next up, we want to add our text. In previous text effect tutorials, we changed the fill of our text to match the background. In this case, we're not going to do that. We're actually going to make it seem as if it's ink printed into the paper. So I'll select my artistic text tool and I'm just going to type out crumpled. And I'll change my font to impact. I like using that because it shows the effects really well. And I'm going to change this to a dark brown color rather than black. I just think it looks better on this bag. Let's size this up a bit and then center it up. So if we take a look at this, it obviously looks just like text sitting right on top of this paper. What we want to do is push it into the texture or pull the texture through it so it looks like it's ingrained or printed into the bag. We're going to do that using blend options. Now, I'm not going to go into a full tutorial on blend options here as I have an entire tutorial dedicated to using it with texture, and I'll link that above here in the video as well as the description below. For the purposes of this tutorial, we're just going to select this layer and I'm going to click on this cog here. This is where you get to blend options. For those on the iPad version, you'll find them at the bottom of the layer panel when you tap the 3 dots on your selected layer. We want to focus specifically on this second graph underlying composition ranges. That's going to allow us to either pull the light or dark areas of the underlying texture through our text to make it look as if it's part of that texture. So since this is a darker color, I want to pull the highlights through. So I'm going to focus on the right side of the graph here. This is the light areas. I'll click and start dragging this down and you can see the highlights coming through. I'm going to stop right about there. Now, I faded that quite significantly, so I want to bring some of these shadows back. I'm going to click on the other side here. This is for the dark values in the underlying texture. And I'll just start dragging it across. I don't want to drag it down because it's going to fade it. I want to keep it at the very top. And I'll just drag it to right about there. Blend options really just depends on the texture you're using, the color of the font that you're using. It's all a feel thing. So I would start with the opposite of whether you have a light or dark font and then go from there. One final thing I want to do is change my blend mode from normal to multiply. That's going to darken the text, but it's also going to help bring some of that texture through even further. So sometimes you can just use blend options by themselves or use blend modes by themselves, but other times a combination of the two can really help you with the texture you're using. Now, technically we could stop here. The texture from the bag is giving it sort of a crumpled look, But if you really look at it, the letters are too perfect. So because Designer now has vector warp built into it, I'm going to use that to keep our text layer fully editable because it's a non-destructive warp, but give it a little bit of help in that area. So I'll select my text layer and I'm going to go to the bottom of my layers panel, click on warp and choose mesh. For those of you on the iPad version, you'll find this under the group icon at the top of the layers panel. Now I don't want to go too far with this. I just want to give it a little bit of help. What I'm going to look for is some of these darker areas here, these big ridges. I'm going to help push the letters up into the highlights. Again, just to kind of make it a little bit more wonky. The way the mesh warp works is that anywhere you see a dot here, this is a junction, and you can move them around like that. You can use these handles to adjust things. If you want to move one handle at a time, you can hold Option down and you have a little bit more control. You can also click inside, add a temporary dot, and just push things up. If you want, you can also add lines to the mesh grid. So you can add them vertically by clicking on one of the horizontal lines and horizontally by clicking on one of the verticals. I use that to sort of trap a letter in place if I don't want it to move with something else. And I'll show you what I mean in a moment. Again, I don't want to go too far with this. I don't want it to be so warped that you can't read it. But I'm going to start with this R here. I kind of want to push this up into the shadow. Now I don't want to move my C. So I'm going to add a line right there and then another one right there. And this is the one that I'm going to use to push the R. Just push it kind of like that. And I'm going to use this one to push the U, but I don't want the whole U to move. I think I'll push the corner of the C up. Okay. I think that's good right there. I think we'll add a little bit of warp right here to the M. You can also, again, use the handles. So I'm going to hold Option down and just use that. And I'll just focus here, and that's it. So I'm going to just drag that up. All right. And one final one. I'm just going to push this into that shadow. And I might, let's see, I might push the D down into the shadow here. Maybe the same with the P here. Okay. Let's just back up and see how that looks. I think that looks good. Again, don't go too far with it because you still want the words to be able to be read. Now, warp groups, again, are non-destructive, which means if I go into my editable text layer, you can see that it's still a text layer here by the description. I can change the word simply by selecting the layer and my artistic text, and I can just change that. If I feel that I need to adjust the mesh after I do that, I can select the parent warp group and then choose my node tool to either reset the entire thing and start again, or just work with the mesh grid that's there and adjust it. In addition to being able to change the words, you can also change the font. So again, I can select my text layer and my artistic text tool. I can go up to my font settings here and just pick something else. If I find again that it's not quite working with the warp that I have in place, I can just go back up to that parent group, choose my node tool, and then just adjust it. And finally, in addition to changing your text, because we have this fill here on a rectangle, you can use the fill tool to go back into your stock studio and pick any type of paper that you'd like. So I can switch it to this one. Now, obviously that's not quite working with the blend options. Those are also non-destructive. So I could adjust, first of all, adjust the scale of the paper to get rid of those seams. And then I can go back to my layers and my text layer and just adjust the blend options to blend better with this particular paper. One final thing that I want to talk about is saving your file so that you can always go back in, make adjustments, and come up with a different design. Now, you can save this as an afdesign file, which is going to save all of your layers, the warp groups, the effects, as well as the texture. It's also going to save all of the history up to the number that you have selected in your preferences for layer history. If you don't feel that you need that, in my case, I don't, I really just want to take a snapshot of where it's at right now. you can save this as an AF template file instead, simply by going up to File and down to Export as Template. Once you select that it's going to follow the same process you would if you were doing a regular export, you'll name the file and put it into wherever you want to save it. When you do that, what that allows you to do is go up to File and New, and I can choose Templates here and double click into this file. I've set this as a cloud file so that I can pull it into both my desktop as well as my iPad. I can also pull it into all 3 of the Affinity apps. So from here, I can just select one of these templates I've saved. What this does is give you a brand new clean copy while saving the original there in the templates file. So any changes that you make to that clean copy don't affect what's saved in the templates. I can save this as a new template, I can save it as an afdesign file, and the original one stays just fine. So let me know, what text effects would you like to see as part of this series? Do you see yourself using them as part of your own designs? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to let me know if you have any questions as well. If you've enjoyed what you've learned here and like my teaching style, consider checking out my full-length classes where I share more detail on many of the tools that I've shown you here, as well as other tutorials on my channel. I've linked both my Skillshare and my own learning site, the Creator Collage, in the description below. I have lots more tutorials coming up, so be sure to subscribe. In the meantime, you might want to check out one of these 2 next. Thanks for watching.